to have a good sort of mentors who handhold you and who guide you and advise you in various aspects of the situation, to the geopolitical risks between Russia and Ukraine, and even the escalated tensions on who kind of mold the objectives, vision, mission document of your organization into something what you can call as a business or a capital. The banks and the housing finance companies both are very key drivers of these change.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by the Directors Institute World Council of Directors. I'm Taneol, and today we are honored to be joined by a distinguished leader in the world of finance. With a career spanning over 20 years, Mr. Ravinarayanan Kesavan Iyer has made significant contributions to the banking and financial sectors across multiple regions, including India and Egypt. As the Chief Financial and Investor Relations Officer at Crédit Agricole Egypt and Chairman of the Egyptian Housing Finance Company, Mr. Iyer has led key initiatives in financial strategy, digitization, and corporate governance. His strategic insights and leadership have been pivotal in shaping the financial landscape. Thank you for being here, Mr. Iyer, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders. Your presence is much appreciated.
Thank you very much, Tanay. In fact, it's an honor for me to be part of this, and thanks to the Directors Institute for inviting me for this session. Thank you very much.
So, starting with our first question. Throughout your career, you have fulfilled many responsibilities, from managing payroll and financial audits to becoming a CFO. In your decades of experience, which key milestones do you think have played best prepared you for the challenges of global finance today?
Well, it's very multifaceted in that context, because you got to be lucky, first of all, when you enter this kind of an industry which is very vibrant and dynamic, to have a good sort of mentors who handhold you and who guide you and advise you in various aspects of the situations that one is exposed in this kind of an industry. And banking is a space which is very dynamic, ever changing, and the methods of doing business has continuously seen an era of big change, whether it is digitization or the fintech companies. So much is happening in the industry that it is very important that you got to have the right kind of mentors to guide you and advise you right through your growth journey. And in that context, I'm very thankful to all my mentors who have played a very significant role in terms of holding my hand in difficult situations and probably enriching my abilities to handle those situations with ease and flair, and at the same time not missing the bigger strategic view to which an organization is exposed. So I think that's one of the key things which I always look behind and look behind with gratitude, and I try to take forward that kind of a gratitude and try to share as much as possible with my colleagues or my peers, and help them ensure that this process is a continuous one. Apart from this, I think the other key element, because I'm a professional chartered accountant, the initial formation years has a very vast and deep experience in terms of audits in various industry sectors, and this enables you to understand the whole gamut of activities which is happening in every type of organization, right from, let's say, the start point from an administrative perspective to the end of the sales or the customer service or things like that. So it's a big circle, and because you are exposed to that kind of a training in a chartered accountancy course, I think this gives us a big boost in terms of confidence and in terms of our ability to take things in the right stride as a leader or as a performer. And I think that is one of the other key elements which I believe is very strong. And most importantly, I believe the adaptation to technology and the adaptation to digitization, automation. If you are not open to that idea as a person in the right scale and the right level, I think it becomes very difficult to grow up in the journey of success. And I believe my openness to digitization and automation and big data and AI has certainly helped me to take up or go up the ladder in a very nice and in a smooth manner, and at the same time not losing my big focus on the bigger strategy for the organization or the objectives in that context.
Yeah. That's incredible, sir. I mean, it's clear that each step of your journey has added layers to your insight and expertise. Sir, leading both financial strategy and investor relations must be a unique balancing act. Although I am certain that keeping investors happy while ensuring financial performance could still leave room for challenges. Which brings me to my next question. Can you elaborate upon a challenge you faced and how you managed it as the Chief Financial and Investor Relations Officer at Credit Agricole Egypt?
It's a very good question, and it's a right question, is what I would say at this point of time, because I don't know how much you know about Egypt, but Egypt has been on the cusp of an economic turmoil since the last 3 years, since I've been to Egypt, as Chief Financial Officer and Investor Relations Officer for the company. Egypt is exposed strongly to the geopolitical risks between Russia and Ukraine, and even the escalated tensions on the Middle East. And it is economically impacted because it depends on both these regions specifically for its cross-border activities. And because of this, what is happening is Egypt is facing a high level of FX unavailability, which means the production cycle in the country is not happening at the right pace, or the normal pace, as you would put it. And then it has led to a strong FX devaluation, a high level of interest rates, a high level of inflation spanning more than 30%. Now, this is a very your situation cannot be tough as a chief financial officer of a bank, which is whose bread and butter is liquidity and interest related business in that context. So I think the challenge has been tremendous, because on one side you need to balance your or you need to manage your balance sheet to make sure you are liquid and you are servicing your customers in the right way. At the other time, you have to manage your investors' expectations to make sure that you are delivering to their requirements and also protecting their capital. Because in a scene of a strong FX devaluation, where most of your investors are foreign investors, they are exposed to devaluation risk, which is much higher. So, in that context, it is always a delicate balancing act. You need to have your channels of communication always open. You need to communicate with them, make them realize what your strategy is, how you are managing the situation, and at the same time, driving your corporate or your bank to go in the right direction, not going overboard in terms of escalating your costs, or reducing your income, or managing your balance sheet in a unbalanced way, creating structural ALM mismatches. It's very, very delicate. And I would say that, and I would say that with pride, because the last 3 years we have been able to, and obviously it's not a single person role, it's a team role. There is an executive management committee which takes care of things, which devises strategies and actions to put in place to react to each kind of an evolution in the market. I think we have been able to deliver quite nicely to both our investors and to our customers and to the broader community as a whole, as a bank, and I'm very proud of that.
Great, sir. Truly, it is an inspiration to handle different regions so well. Sir, raising over 100 million euros in Tier 1 and 2 financing is an incredible milestone, especially keeping in mind today's competitive financial landscape. What were some key factors that contributed to your success in securing this capital, and what's your approach to these kinds of high stake opportunities?
See, everything is a learning process, no doubt about it. But when it comes to capital, and when you are in a bank, the understanding of the term capital is very different from what you see in a manufacturing organization or a service oriented industry. What you happen to see in a bank is it's more regulatory driven. You need to have a certain minimum threshold which you cannot breach at any point of time, And because your business is continuously growing by way of credit growth or off balance sheet business growth kind of a thing, you need to keep a check on your capital requirements, not for today but for 5 years from now. So the most important challenge is how do you envision such kind of a scenario. And for that, what is more critical is you need to have the ability to kind of mold the objectives, vision, mission document of your organization into something what you can call as a business or a capital outlook or a risk outlook situation from a bank's perspective. Now this is something which is very unique. You don't get to learn these kind of things every now and then very easily. So I have been very fortunate to be exposed to such kind of a situation where you are part of a growing business, you are part of a growing banking culture and a growing jurisdiction where the growth opportunity is huge, and so the requirement of capital is also very huge. So I think the most important thing in this whole scenario is that you got to understand what the gap is and how do you want to bridge that gap. What is the ideal product, whether you want to go for tier 1 or whether you want to go for tier 2. It's a very delicate act of balancing, because when you go for tier 1 you need to manage investor expectations, whereas when you go to tier 2 it's like a kind of a debt capital which is more oriented towards who are your lenders, prospective lenders to you, and how do you manage their anticipation, or how do you allay their concerns that their capital is safe and they will get their money back. So and these things are supplementary to the prime objective of keeping the bank functioning in a normal scenario with good KPIs supporting your liquidity, your interest rate risks, your stress, things like that. So it's always a learning experience, and I've been very fortunate to be part of this thing. And I believe that the opportunities have only made me a better and more knowledgeable person in this context than ever before. Indeed, because when you see in India, suddenly you find rumors on some names in the banks, and then the depositors line up just outside you. It's not easy, these kind of situations. When you watch it on the news, it's a different thing, but when you are really exposed to it, it's a different story altogether. And then there are two perspectives. You are a customer, and then you are a manager of the bank. How do you handle the situation? Very, very delicate, very, very sensitive. You've got to make sure that as a bank, reputation is the one which is the most important and critical element to be always respected and not compromised for any reason whatsoever.
100%, because it has taken years to build, right?
For sure.
As chairman of the Egyptian housing finance company, how do you strike a balance between financial performance and environmental responsibilities in your strategies?
Again, a very good question, because when you look at a business which is more, let's say, money based and lender based, the banks and the housing finance companies both are very, very key drivers of these change. What I mean by that is you've got to imbibe those attributes and those values into your daily day-to-day operations. What I mean is, if I have to onboard a customer for onboard lending of my funds, I need to make sure, or we need to make sure that the environmental checkpoints are ticked. The funds are used for purposes which will not, let's say, the least destroy the current level of maintenance and take it forward in a positive way. So your risk policies, your customer selection policies, your business processes, your internal in-house, let's say, contribution to those objectives, they have to be constantly molded, reviewed, monitored, measured, reported, disclosed. So there are so many things which are in that context. So I believe, it is slowly and steadily taking a form where it's becoming a part of your daily process, rather than you just stand up one day and say, okay, I want to see on this count where we are. No, you have to make it your daily habit in order to create that small and positive change for the future. Obviously it's a long drawn process, but certainly as a starting point, we have molded our risk management policies to make sure that we are not funding negative ESG aspects or things like that. We are only trying to contribute more towards a better future rather than a bleak future. Let's say that. Let's put it in that way.
100%, sir. I think for any big move, the small steps are that matter, and you can't just suddenly arrive one day and change everything, right?
And being part of the global, I work for Crédit Agricole. It's a very big group. It's a French-based conglomerate banking and financial services group. We are present in many countries across various continents. So, as a group, you have the ability to learn from multiple jurisdictions, adopt the best practices, imbibe that into your cultural values,
Yeah.
in your organization missions, and then imbibe that in your policies and procedures so that these small steps start making a big impact tomorrow in that context.
So they say success is a journey, not a destination. With all that you've achieved so far, what's one goal or aspiration that still drives you forward in your career?
Well, for me, success is a very relative term. I mean, different people look at it from a different perspective. Some look at it from a position perspective. Some look at it from a financial perspective or an
Yeah.
economic perspective. Some look at it from a growth perspective. But for me, I have always seen success as something which makes you feel from inside that you are still able to contribute. You are still able to bring about change for the betterment, and in the process you achieve those supplementary objectives of financial gains or economic gains or positional gains, those kind of things. So I believe success for me is as long as I'm in a position to contribute and make a change, I believe I'm successful in that context, and that is what keeps me driving as in a leadership position, and make sure that the right kind of ethical and integrated behavior is what enables that kind of a success to be achieved. It's never achieved on an overnight basis. I spent more than 20 years in the industry, and every single day I have learned, and till today I continue to learn, and I continue to apply my learnings. As long as you are able to do and be in that position, I believe you are a successful person. This is my strong belief, and that's what keeps me moving forward in that context.
Truly very well said, sir. So, as we wrap up this insightful conversation, I'd love to end on a reflective note. You've been a part of the Directors Institute for some time now, and it's clear that corporate governance plays a crucial role in your leadership style. So, as a final question, how has your experience with the Directors Institute impacted the way you approach corporate governance?
Oh, very nicely and very positively. And I'll tell you the reason why. The reason is, you have what you can call as your real experience, which happens in the jurisdictions where you go. For example,
Yeah.
like, I was working in India for a long time. Now I'm working in Egypt. I've worked a little bit here and there on bits and pieces in some other jurisdictions, but very limited ones, short stints kind of a thing. But at the end of the day, those are real experiences. And then when I look at Directors Institute, when I approached it, I thought it would be something similar to what I've seen in these two jurisdictions. No, but when I started looking at the global phenomena and the global picture in terms of how the governance aspect is observed or looked upon in different jurisdictions, I think there is a lot to learn. There is a lot to achieve, and there is a lot to implement from those learnings. And for that, from that point of view, I believe the Directors Institute program has been very impactful for me, and I'm still looking forward to learn more, because I'm still learning that some of the modules, especially on the digitization part and the ESG part, because being an accountant, you are not really exposed from a very technical understanding of all these things. But as a leader, you need to grasp the key principles and make sure that you imbibe them in your various processes and procedures that you put in place in your organization. So I believe the Directors Institute has been a turning point, and I have no regrets that I choose to select them to take forward my professional journey in that context.
Lovely, sir. Your insights today have truly been invaluable, and we can't thank you enough for taking the time out to share your experience and wisdom with us. We at Directors Institute wish you continued success in all your endeavors, and we look forward to seeing your ongoing impact in the global financial landscape. Once again, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope you've enjoyed this inspiring conversation with Mr. Iyer and found new insights to carry forward in your own journey. Stay tuned for more incredible stories and leadership lessons from the world's top professionals. Until next time, remember to lead with purpose, strive for excellence, and always keep learning. Thank you so much.